雨描きがたし股間奥義燃えろ火の用心そりゃせっへっいやかきやっおっとそりゃほらへっ
天道ここにあり岩山八九さい全力攻撃だせっは難攻不落
気ぃつけるぜはあはあいやそりゃふっへっせっ
剣女盤石
左右ルコこの剣はわかるかいさい火の用心キャッチはっはっせっふっせっはっはっはっはっせっえい歌よ西となれこの剣はわかるかい
みんながそばにいてくれるわ絆
えいへっいや行くで
岩山八九
股間奥義花火にキャッチせっそりゃはっやっはっ
はあ全員どけ
雨描きがたしさい
みんなは俺が
気ぃつけるぜやっそりゃやっおっとはあ
急がなくてもいいのよ。悪くない芽が出たわ。今日も引き続きサボりましょう。調子が良くなってから仕事を一気に終わらせるわよ。 情報提供者から知らせがあったわ。うん、どうやらまた新たな変数が現れたようね。
I'm going to try to maybe later. I mean tomorrow. I think I fucked up on teams.
Sabaki no ikazuchi, inabikari, すなわち永遠なり。
糸よ、工作せよ。どの目が出るかしら。
見切りました。
私のお家にいらっしゃい。
やった、ここより弱滅の時。逃げ道は
反省しなさいよ、プリ
糸よ、工作せよ。痛がっちゃいないわ。
手をつなぎましょう。知識をあなたにも。
どの目が出るかしら。捕まえた。
裁きの雷、稲光、すなわち永遠なり。
私のお家にいらっしゃい。
かかれ。
終わり。反省しなさいよ、プレット。これこそが知恵の伝道。
逃げ道はありません。
痛がっちゃいないわ。
よいしょ。
作せよ。やっかかれ。裁きの雷無我の境地。
私のお家にいらっしゃい。
捕まえた。
公主決定。全部丸見えね。
はっやっ急がなくてもいいのよ。
天理チョーク。
終わりね。撤収。
Niña mala que sos. Qué mala, niña mala, preciosa. Qué niña mala. Qué niña mala. Qué niña mala. Qué preciosa. Qué hermosa. Qué niña mala. Niña mala que sos. Qué niña mala. Qué niña mala. Qué niña mala. Qué loca, qué loquita, qué niña mala. 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 Qué niña mala.
みんながそばにいてくれるわ。
花火にいい日。
Mala que sos, ¿qué querés? ¿Qué querés, niña mala? ¿Qué niña mala?
光フラグ。
痛がっちゃいない。どの目が出るかしら。急がなくてもいいのよ。
暗山八九天道、ここにあり。
終わりね。
全力攻撃だ。天道万象、剣女盤石。
糸よ工作せよ。捕まえた。
みんながそばにいてくれれば。
気ぃつけるね。
いざ難攻不落。
どの目が出るか。せいかかれ。
انا خمسة كذا. I've still got a little bit of time. Not urgently, but I have to keep going. But I still have time to do this. I have to do it. Yes.
てっ同点元気超無一角はっ
Could she really be here?
If you were a little kid,
Recently, we pondered the games that flipped the script on us and instead of punishing failure, actually penalised us for being too good at the game. Like how I'm penalised for being too good at drinking coffee by getting a heart arrhythmia. Doesn't seem fair. And yet it turns out that the examples we unearthed were just the tip of the iceberg, and you, the wise and skilled outside Xbox audience, had experienced this yourselves many times over. Here then are even more times you failed by being too good at the game, as taken from the top comments on our previous video on this subject. Enjoy, and beware spoilers ahead for the following games. Okay, intro done. I could sure go for a coffee right now.
You've had so many.
Yes, but what if I drank more though? I don't think I've reached my full capacity.
I'm cutting you off.
No, I think you're gonna see some stuff if I have more coffee. It's like Super Saiyan, but for coffee. I get like flaming brown hair. It's gonna be great. You watch.
This better work.
Is anyone picking this up? My name is Moira Burton. My coworkers and I were taken here against our will.
Resident Evil Revelations 2 is set between Resident Evil 5, that's the one where Chris Redfield uppercuts a boulder into some lava, and Resident Evil 6, that's the one with a guy in it called
Piers Nivens? Never heard of you.
That game is full of zombies and monsters, and yet the name Piers Nivens is still the least realistic thing about it. Resident Evil Revelations 2, though, follows the adventures of series favourites Claire Redfield and Barry Burton, as well as Barry's daughter Moira, whose personality is swearing.
Ask me my f***ing name for once, you dinosaur.
You should wash mouth out with soap, Moira.
Throughout the game, you'll notice that Moira never uses guns. The reason for this, we're told, is that she accidentally shot her younger sister when they were kids. Her father Barry blamed her for the accident, and she has had a phobia of guns ever since. This becomes important late in Chapter 3 because, as is so often the case in Resident Evil games, a guy called Neil, who was until recently a guy, is now a huge hulking monstrous virus monster. Still called Neil.
Ouroboros, it's not death. It's power.
Neil
knocks down both Claire and Moira, and playing as Claire, you're suddenly presented with a quick time event. Mash the button to grab the gun and shoot Neil. If you're good at games, you'll naturally do as you're told and mash that button. You are given the option to switch characters, but why would you do that? Claire is the one who does the shooting, Moira is afraid of guns. It's a no-brainer. Anyway, if you have Claire shoot Neil, then the game continues on, but bad luck, good gamer with your fast reflexes, because now you're locked into the game's bad ending. What you were supposed to do was have Moira grab the gun and then overcome her fear of guns by shooting Neil. This turns out to be a pivotal character moment for Moira because, emboldened by her newfound affinity for guns, she turns up towards the end of the game in the nick of time to shoot another extremely Resident Evil looking monster, this one called Alex, thus saving the little girl Barry's been looking after, and also Barry.
Moira!
However, if you nailed the Claire QTE earlier, Moira doesn't get over her fear of guns and is instead crushed to death by falling masonry. Also, the little girl being squished in this cutscene gets squished seemingly to death and then awakens as a dark version of herself, imbued with Alex's consciousness, and goes all evil. You know, Resident Evil stuff.
Now you can call me Alex.
The worst possible ending, basically, and all because you did well on a QTE. This is, honestly, almost as bad as naming a character Piers Nivens.
One of the best games of 2021, Inscription is, on the face of it, a deck builder card game. But like the mystery chili in the outside Xbox canteen, under that tasty top layer lurks something much more complicated and sinister. In Inscription, you play cards against a shadowy, barely glimpsed opponent, but unlike a Magic the Gathering or a Hearthstone, which requires some kind of mana or power to play cards, the resource you need in Inscription is blood, and your hand is full of adorable squirrels who are, in turn, full of useful blood, and you can see where this is going, huh? Anyway, Inscription is dark and foreboding, and to maintain that air of menace, you need to lose a few games during the tutorial in order to progress. It's all part of the game, and every player will get to this point naturally during a playthrough. Unless, that is, you're extremely good at the game. Indeed, it's possible to go so far in the tutorial without losing that the game will decide to step in and take matters into its own hands in the most terrifying way possible. First, you get this deeply unsettling glitch. And then your opponent's hand is switched for one that contains nothing but ferocious grizzly bears. As you can imagine, being attacked by 8 grizzly bears is a very efficient way to get you to fail the tutorial. Don't suppose I could interest you in some squirrels? Yeah, I thought not.
I'm going to run a high voltage electric current through your body. If it's just for a short time, it won't kill you.
But I never heard that before.
You're a tough guy, Snake. But I've got some bad news for you. You're no POW. You're a hostage. There's no Geneva Convention. No one is coming to save you.
In the Metal Gear Solid series, regularly returning character Revolver Ocelot has taken on many roles. Sometimes he's your professional rival, sometimes he's your deadly nemesis, and sometimes he's your dog sitter.
Oh! You see that? Now that's discipline. Following orders like a real diamond dog. Soon he'll be... No! Stay!
Occasionally, like in the original Metal Gear Solid, Revolver Ocelot is both your loathed enemy and electrical torturer, which is quite a twofer.
You're in charge here, Ocelot.
What about you? Wanna stay for the show?
I'm not interested. It's time to feed the family.
In this scenario, Revolver Ocelot intends to zap you, Solid Snake, with electricity like a car with a flat battery. Only instead of trying to get you to start on a cold morning after leaving the lights on all night, he's trying to get you to divulge intel and betray your allies. Have you tried making him watch Death Stranding cutscenes? Just a suggestion.
This is some bed, all right. I'm about to show you some of its nicer features.
To resist this torture and prevent Snake from being electric to death, you had to hammer a single button really, really fast. This would hurt your button-bashing finger in a way that Kojima presumably hoped would, for maximum immersion, make you feel as uncomfortable as Snake, who we remind you is currently being electrically tortured. Which is all fine and extremely 90s video games. However, there was a problem that arose if you were too good at hammering buttons that would lead to a messy end for Snake and a quick game over for you. To prevent people from cheating this punishing segment and having normal, non-hurting fingers, there was a second fail state for this section as outlined in a fourth wall breaking meta warning from Ocelot himself.
Don't even think about using auto fire, or I'll know.
The problem is that top-tier button mashers were able to register presses at a rate on par with a cheaty auto-fire controller, and as a result were treated the same way, with the game disregarding the input and letting you die, leading to a stone-cold game over and Ocelot getting in trouble for getting carried away.
Ocelot, you did it again. Sorry, boss.
It's the last time I let that guy look after my dog.
Excuse me, are you Zenyu?
What do you want?
I want to ask you about the voodoo.
The voodoo? Are you familiar with the martial arts?
Yes.
Really? Well, have a seat. I'll trim your hair while I tell you.
Shenmue 2 is a game that loves QuickTime events so much that it forgot to make the rest of the game any fun. Unless you're into very slowly following people through alleyways, then you're in for a real treat.
It's fine, he's helping us for free.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be angry at this old man.
Let's just hope he doesn't die of old age on the way.
Almost every action in the game, no matter how mundane, comes with its own set of quick response button prompts, from chasing street thieves, to punching trees, to carrying books. Same year as Grand Theft Auto 3 and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 this came out, just saying. The point is, a few hours into Shenmue 2 you are well and truly trained to expect QTEs and are probably quite good at them. Which is why it's such a jerk move for the game to present you with a scenario where you have to completely ignore a button prompt to succeed. This happens when you try to learn an ancient principle of martial arts from a jerk-ass barber who tells you not to move no matter what happens while he waves a straight razor at your neck.
Listen, do not move, no matter what happens.
There then follows the longest few seconds of your life as the A button flashes on screen, exploiting the instincts the game has been programming you with for the last several hours while you do nothing. Or more likely, you hit A, like you've done in the 1,000 QuickTime events before this, you move like you were told not to, and then you get shouted at by a man with a cutthroat razor and ejected from his barbershop.
I said no matter what. You have no courage. You aren't fit to learn the voodoo.
What makes this even worse is that if you do fail this test, you need to wait a whole in-game day to try again and continue the story. A day that, no doubt, will be spent very slowly following people through alleyways.
I just tilt my head back while I'm walking like I'm going, oh, come on.
If you need me, I'll be playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
I will go to any lengths to destroy your kind. Your mutant gifts will be used to bring your kind to its knees.
Ask most people which X-Man they'd least like to fight, and they'd probably say Wolverine on account of his unbreakable adamantium claws, or Cyclops because he's incredibly boring.
For a better tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, alright, you win. Just please stop talking. Anyone who played 2002 fighting game X-Men Next Dimension, however, will know that the real answer is Jean Grey's alter ego Phoenix. Why? Because they've seen what she can do at the end of that game if you're too good at it. The final boss of X-Men Next Dimension is Bastion, a C-tier comics villain who is a robot with jet boots who can command Sentinels. Once you've progressed through the story, you fight Bastion with Wolverine.
Got 6 reasons for you to walk away.
And regardless of the outcome of that fight, you then proceed to a second fight in which you take on Bastion with Magneto. If you win this fight, the game ends. But if you lose, you go on to another fight against Bastion, this time with Phoenix.
You must enjoy playing with fire.
Your gifts shall prove ineffective against our technology.
Now, it might be that you got a bit sloppy in the Magneto fight, and now, given another chance with Phoenix, you pull out all the stops and decide to play to the best of your abilities. Well, I love your enthusiasm, but make sure you get hit at least once. Otherwise, Earth is destroyed. Yeah. In this ending, where you perfect Bastion with Phoenix, Cyclops turns up, presumably to ask her if she knows where his good Tupperware is, because he's had half his sandwich, but he's not hungry anymore. Reacting as we all would, Bastion kills Cyclops, thank God, but regrettably, this causes Jean to go ballistic, turn into Dark Phoenix, kill Bastion, hoof Professor X across his room back on Earth for some reason, and then, to cap it all, fly off and destroy the moon. And then she turns towards Earth, which is presumably next. So yeah, I know you're good, but maybe let Bastion get a few punches in next time, because now the planet's destroyed. Still, Cyclops is dead, so every cloud.
The Sierra Madre. Beauty, isn't she? She the one who invited you here? Or maybe you didn't catch her voice on the radio. Woke up confused like some of the others. At least you're still breathing.
If you play Fallout games anything like the way we do, you generally put all your upgrade points into speech and barter. Because it's one thing to fight a cult of overpowered Roman legionaries, and another thing entirely to just persuade them to F off without so much as raising a weapon.
Until the day when our armies meet again, envoy of Vegas, I shall wait for you on the battlefield.
Turns out, though, that being too gifted with the gab can be a liability in Fallout New Vegas' Dead Money DLC, in which you accept an invitation to the grand opening of a new casino known as the Sierra Madre, only to be captured and wake up wearing an explosive collar that, if you step out of line, will give you a worse headache than the one you'd usually have after a night out in Vegas. Also wearing one of these collars is Dean Domino, a former lounge singer turned ghoul who has a plan to break into the casino's vault and hot-foot it out of there with whatever goodies are inside.
Thing is, here's where being my partner pays off. See, I know how to get into the casino vault.
The problem is that Dean here has an extremely fragile ego and likes to be in control at all times. As you talk to him, you're offered various conversation options that require a skill check to be successful. Usually in Fallout games, this is a positive thing, as if you're good enough at the skill in question, new options will open up to you that weren't available before.
Yes, you're right. I had not considered it from that viewpoint.
If you fail the barter check you're offered against Dean, he feels like he can get one over on you and things progress as normal. However, due to Dean's ego, if you pass the barter check, your confident attitude and dismantling of his argument hurts his feelings, and as a result, you are now locked out of any ending in which Dean survives.
Think you're going to upstage me here at the Sierra Madre? I don't think so. Now that I'm inside, well, I don't need you anymore.
Progress far enough in the DLC story, having bruised Dean's ego earlier on, and he will decide you've hogged the spotlight long enough and turn on you, first with a hologram security system, and then up close and personal with his pistol.
Just couldn't mind you.
So there'll be no getting out of the casino with all your companions alive if you're too good at bartering with folks. Sorry. Still, what happens in New Vegas stays in New Vegas, so at least no one will find out about this.
Dean Domino. Entertainer, singer, thief. Had his last show on the Sierra Madre stage. The heist he spent over 200 years planning fell apart, just as the first, by underestimating his partner's strength.
Ah, great. Thanks a lot, VO.
Ah, Knights of the Old Republic. What a game. Maybe the perfect Star Wars game? I honestly can't think of a single thing in it that was bad. No, my rose-tinted glasses. What you're looking at is swoop racing, which, for the uninitiated, is like pod racing in The Phantom Menace, but not so devastatingly interesting or integral to the plot, or as much of a good use of several minutes of your short, finite human life. Swoop racing was stupidly fast and fiddly, and as such the best way to win was to be a hummingbird, or failing that, cheat it by hammering the pause button to slow down the game and then steer frame by frame. The problem was, if you were good at swoop racing and set a new record in any of the swoop races to give you a new challenge, the game would then have another competitor come along and immediately break your time. If you'd race to the absolute peak of your abilities, then you would have zero chance of breaking this new record and so be forced to accept your swoop race inferiority for the rest of time. The key to winning, it seems, is to race deliberately slowly for your first attempt, taking a leisurely turn around the course, and then go hell for leather on your second go if you want to make sure you stay top of the leaderboard. Of course, here's the real advice on how to win at swoop racing. It's do the one mandatory race and then never touch the whole wretched mini-game again. It's the only way to win.
Hey, thanks for watching this video about times you failed by being too good at the game. Jane and I are just involved in a rousing game of horse in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. We'll be setting some cool new times using this great Xbox Duke controller. What a cool controller that is. It weighs about 100 pounds. And my wrists are hurting, so I will just say, please watch one of these other videos. Here's something from us that I think you'll enjoy. Down here is Outside Extra doing their thing. What? It's not a button. That's not a button. None of this lights up. Why has it got 2 holes in it? Explain yourself, Xbox.
The biggest question humanity has right now isn't, are there aliens and where are they? But more importantly, is Fortnite dying? That is the question that is on everyone's minds for the past 48 hours. Now, I'm sure you wanted me to sit here and talk about for 8 to 10 minutes about the UFO sightings and how they talked about it in Congress. I was going to do that, and then Critical uploaded his video. So if I upload it today, it's going to flop. So I'll probably have to leave it for a couple days. But the question today is Fortnite dying. Now, that is like a buzzword phrase that everyone loves to jump on. If you get squad wiped 5 times in a row, or you get squad wiped by someone with twitch.tv in their name, it can leave you pretty low. You'll probably uninstall the game and go, yeah, the game's dead, until they bring out like a Futurama Family Guy Peter Griffin skin, and then you'll probably reinstall the game. I'll be honest, I'm pretty guilty of this as well. Modern Warfare, for example, I basically never touch that game. I never play Warzone because I get bodied in seconds. I'm not used to people crouch spamming like they're playing Left 4 Dead 2 on expert mode, but I still reinstalled that game to buy the Homelander skin for the boys. And then I played like 4 matches of Shipment, and I was like, this game kind of sucks, and I just didn't touch it again since. Now, I'm sure the boardroom at Activision are cheering at what I just said, because that's the entire reason why they released skins, to bait people into re-downloading the game and then probably sticking with it. I did like half of that, so it's kind of like a small dub on their part. Now, at the minute, Fortnite does have a pretty strong player base. If you look at any kind of website that collects like how many players are online right now, you usually find the number at prime time being around 3 to 4 million, with the countries being split up. Like, for example, America's around 20%, Russia's 7%, which is amazing, by the way, because games like CSGO and Dota that are like the biggest played games, especially on Steam, they're basically carried by Russians. It's also a very successful business model for Epic, because they make around like just under $3 million a day alone from transactions. There are so many kids getting their credit cards and asking mommy if they can use it so they can buy like a Fry from Futurama. I'll be honest, most of the skins they do kind of suck. I think the only one I was interested in buying was Venom from Spider-Man, and then by the time I reinstalled the game, the skin was gone forever. Now, for me to sit here and say the game's dying because of player count, that's a bit of a cope. But there is one thing that is really crippling Fortnite at the minute, and that is cheaters. And it seems to be something that Epic is doing basically absolutely nothing about. I mean, to be fair, any game has cheaters. CSGO, Valorant, you'll always have someone that downloads like the latest mod or script that they're paying like, you know, $20 for. Eventually, the server will get updated. They'll be booted out. They'll probably come back on a throwaway account. It's always this constant race between the cheats being updated to outpace the updates to the actual game. So there'll always be cheaters in any video game. I'm not saying that, oh my god, Fortnite has cheaters. No. If anyone doesn't know what I was doing, it was a Sopranos bit.
Whoa, take it easy. Look away with the vipers.
Now, obviously, no one likes to go against a cheater. They are the lowest of the low, complete pond scum. They're usually people that are bullied at school, and instead of using that as a character arc to get like ripped or shredded or have some kind of personality change where they grow into a better person, they basically just get worse. And then they become the bully and bully people online by having like God mode, aimbot, stuff like that. Every game has them. That's fine. But Fortnite exclusively seems to attract cheaters in top tier games. Like, for example, championship games where there's like millions of dollars at stake. For example, this clip from the grand final of a cash cup the last couple of hours, there was a cheater in there and there was prize money. And the cheater did what cheaters do, turned on his cheats, and he had aimbot to be precise, and he basically zoned and lasered a guy on the other side of the map, getting instant headshot after instant headshot with an AK, pretty much downing him straight away without any chance to fight back.
It's cheaters, man. Oh.
There are numerous examples of this, like streamers doing tournaments at home, and they just get zeroed in on. Like, I have seen sweat gameplay in Fortnite on the highest level. You get these little kids that will basically build like the Twin Towers in like 5 seconds. They are sweats. But this, it's just so obviously cheating. There was even an example 6 months ago of an Oceania Cup, and the guy in first place, by the way, where the prize pool was like something like $2 million, he was cheating. I do not understand how you can get a cheater in first place. This wasn't even qualifying. This was something like the finals.
Like, oh my, what am I watching right now, guys? Like, what is this? What am I watching? What is this? What? Bruh! What?
Is that even cheating?
Well.
He's not cheating.
Teammate with 0 kills as well. Yeah, and he just wins. Like, nice.
No, I'll be honest, we've all been that guy. I play a lot of Rainbow Six Siege. I'll get one tapped and lasered by someone, and then I'll say, oh, he's hacking. That guy's hacking. But this is actual unironic hacks. Like, you can see the way that their aim just snaps. And I don't understand how they think that they can get away with this stuff as well. It is like Fortnite cheating is just so unapologetically, it's plaguing every single server. You've even had professional Fortnite shoutcasters just like mauled about it on Twitter, just saying how it's completely destroying the game. Apparently some of the worst servers to play on at the minute is anywhere in like Oceania. So if you're in like Australia, New Zealand, place Japan, basically any server you join is probably going to have a cheater. You can literally open up Twitter right now. I know you shouldn't. Please don't actually do that. And if you type in Fortnite cheater, you will get hundreds, if not thousands of results of people just using God mode, speed hacks, aimbot, just anything to get some kind of advantage over other people. And the worst thing is, Epic, they basically said nothing about it. That they've been so quiet about cheaters because I feel like if they admit that there are cheaters in their game, their stock prices are basically just going to completely fall off. The thing is, if there's a few cheaters on a game, they try to hide it, right? Like they don't want to show it. Maybe they'll toggle on and off. They'll have it off for most of the game, and when it comes to a bit of a clutch, they'll turn it on. It's like Spider-Man. You don't want anyone to find your disguise, or like Superman. You want to keep that secret identity you've got completely hidden. But with the Fortnite community, the cheating is so commonplace. You even have people basically just bragging, saying that, oh yeah, just woke up today and actually completely bypassed the anti-cheat. Okay, so you know how I said people are just like so brazenly like bragging that they have cheats because Epic are just doing nothing? I see a guy right here and he's basically saying that you can buy cheats in his Discord bio for only $7. Now, you could say he's an undercover Fed trying to bait people into like a honeypot server. You could say that, to be fair. But it's just like, honestly, I kind of believe it because cheating in Fortnite is just so commonplace. It's one of the reasons I stopped playing the game. Well, okay, I mean, I'm going to be honest. The reason why I stopped playing it is because it was boring for me. And also I would be absolutely shit on because the skill ceiling in Fortnite is so insanely high with the building. Everyone is just a complete sweat. I'm just happy to admit now that, like, because of cheaters, I basically don't play online video games anymore. I think this is one of the reasons why videos I do on Paracynical are like, you know, single player driven games, because playing multiplayer at this point in some games, it is a complete cesspit. I'll be honest, some games have cheaters better under control than others. Like, for example, Warzone. You probably just got out your chair and started laughing when I said that, but it is nowhere near as toxic and rampant as it is Fortnite, where basically half the player base go, yeah, I cheat. Yeah, what about it? Like it's some giant like Alcoholics Anonymous meeting or something. Now, looking more on the player count, there's actually graphs of like every active user on Fortnite. It's basically recorded monthly. And unfortunately, if you do look at the graph, there is a very steady, it's not sudden, but a very steady, slow decline. It looks like the player base from like last year has basically almost halved. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's mostly because of the cheaters. Because if you play a game and you like really want to get good at it and your entire experience gets ruined by someone else who is just objectively better than you because they're typing like ones and zeros into the console instead of like actually learning how to aim, then it sucks. It ruins your experience and no one wants to be part of that. Personally, I just like to go back to the good old days of Fortnite where it was just like the worst thing you could worry about was just stream snipers. I remember when Dr. Disrespect got stream sniped and the guy's username that stream sniped him was like his wife or something. Like, can we go back to those days? Because that is much less toxic than people just trying to like body people by paying $8 a month for a cheat they downloaded off Discord.